Well, hey, entrepreneurs, for the next 20 minutes, we are answering your social media marketing questions live on air. We had some questions written in early. We're going to dive in, but if you're joining me live either on YouTube or on Facebook, I want to hear from you. Go ahead and let me know what type of entrepreneur you are so I can cater my responses to your businesses, industries, and niches, and let me know what your social media marketing questions are. So let's go ahead and dive into today's first question from Danielle. Danielle wants to know, is there such a thing as too many posts to your stories on Instagram when it's not related to a specific event or something, just your normal everyday life? All right, so let's take a look at this. With Instagram, we know that up at the top of our app, we have the ability to post stories for 24 hours. These are comprised of slides or photos and videos of up to 15 seconds. And you can put a longer video in there, but it's going to splice it up into those 15-second slides. So how many is too many? All right. With this, we have to keep in mind that we are trying to get people's attention. So if you are doing it related to a specific event or some kind of educational content where you're letting people know information, do what you have to do. But remember, your first 3 slides are the most important. If you can get people through the first 3 slides, you're going to keep them until the end for the most part. You might lose 1 or 2 along the way, but the other couple hundred will stick around with you to read the rest of that information or learn the rest of that information. So your first slide has to get their attention. It's got to be that hook. The second slide has to reinforce it. And if you can get them past the second slide to the third slide, 90% of those people are going to follow through the rest of your slides, no matter how long they are, as long as it's relevant and important to them. So stepping away from that educational content or that event that you're talking about, can you be posting too many? Well, you can technically post as many as you want. If you have the retention rate, feel free. Post whatever you want, get that information out to people, have those conversations, use those engagement features so that you have interaction on your posts and keep people involved. But you also have to remember, if you're just posting just to post, I would keep it shorter because people don't have a very long attention span. That retention rate is going to drop significantly if you're just posting random stuff. So if it's connected to each other, go however long you need. Typically, I aim for around 3 to 10 posts when I am posting on Instagram stories. And usually when I'm posting on Instagram stories, I'm using engagement features. So if I'm asking questions, I'll do like maybe 3 to 5 quality posts, and then I will post reactions. And those can get really, really long. People don't always go through all of those, but I like to give people shout outs. If I'm giving actual information, I'm making sure that that's connected. But let's take a look a little bit deeper at this. If you are posting multiple times a day to your stories about different topics, I'm going to encourage you to keep it to 2 topics per day. So let's just say you want to show off what you're doing that's relevant to your people, but you also want to talk about your new podcast episode, or you want to talk about something that's going on. You can have 2 different storylines that you're following throughout the day, but I wouldn't go over that because at that point, that's just a lot of information you're throwing out at people. So I don't want to see you talking about your new podcast episode, and I don't want to see you talking about what your puppy dog has done that day, and I don't want to see your trip to the farmer market all in one day. I want to see those on individual days and relevant and connected to your fan base. So up to 2 storylines per day is good for that retention rate. If you go over that, you're probably going to start to lose people. And I would rather you save it for the following day when you're going to have a fresh audience and you're going to get that reaction and that engagement to your Instagram stories. So is there such thing as too many posts to your stories? It depends on your audience's retention rate. Test it out, see what they will stick with you through, and then don't do more than 2 storylines per day and space them out pretty dang good so that you get that retention rate and you get that engagement. We also hung out with Tiny Living with Sabrina this week, and she jumped onto one of our YouTube videos where we're talking all about thumbnail poses this week. And she says, this is awesome. I always finish filming and I'm like, shoot, now I need the thumbnail photo and I don't know what to do with myself. Within this video, we were giving you a ton of poses for your thumbnail photos over on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, and on IGTV. And I actually did 20 poses in 20 seconds, and I went way over. I think we did like up to like 30 or 40 poses just within that video in a real short amount of time. I told you where you can get the top 9 thumbnail poses freebie I'm giving out to you guys, and I also have up to 80 additional poses that I am giving to you as part of our Thumbnails That Convert course. So you can go check that out if you want more information on that one. Sabrina, thanks for hanging out. Elena joined us and said, excellent tips. Now it makes sense. Thank you. She was talking all about our how to handle hashtags as an entrepreneur with the #1 offending hashtag and what to use instead of it, because you're probably using the one that's killing your reach. And we break all that down inside of that video over on our YouTube page. Girl, thanks so much for hanging out with me. I do appreciate you being here. We got another great comment that says, my live streams and YouTube videos are going to be so much better now. Thank you. We're talking all about Instagram live tools and how you can be working with things to help grow what you're doing on your live streams on Instagram specifically, but on your live streams in general. We talked lighting, we talked about tripods, we talked about how you can enhance your video, just so many things. Make sure you're checking that out. And thank you so much for joining us this week on YouTube and leaving all the love. Danielle sent in another great question that says, Instagram posts, do dimensions matter? It started off as square only, but now you can post rectangle, wide, or tall. Does this affect your reach or impressions? Well, Danielle, that is a fantastic question, and I'm excited that you're here hanging out with us today live. We are talking a lot about Instagram today, which I absolutely love. So with Instagram, they started out with square posts only. Now they allow us to do those rectangular posts, but this does not affect your reach or your impressions. It does potentially affect your engagement. So we know people are already trained to expect square imagery on Instagram. People like square imagery. In fact, we found on all the social media platforms, square imagery performs better than rectangular imagery. And this not only counts for imagery, but for video as well. We know that square format video on Facebook, on Instagram, all of those perform better. Now, of course, YouTube is a caveat to that. You're going to do better with rectangular on YouTube. But with Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and those different social media platforms, you do find that square typically performs better. Now, in terms of Instagram, square is going to be really good because it matters in terms of your grid. So when people go over to your page, when they're just meeting you, when they're starting to investigate you, they will go over to your page to see if you're someone that they want to follow, if you're going to help them in some way or inspire them in some way, and they'll see your grid. They're going to go through it, and it's going to be those squares of 3 rows all the way down. You get that 9 grid on your Instagram page as you're scrolling through, and they only see the square images. So if you're posting rectangular images, make sure whatever you're posting contains the important information in that inside square, because if you don't, it's going to get cut off, and then your grid's going to start to look a little wonky. It's going to look a little weird. People will have to tap on it to see what's going on. They're not going to like that. So in general, I do recommend keeping your Instagram images in that square format because it just performs better and it looks better on your grid. Does that mean you can't post rectangular images? No. Every once in a while, you will find that you have an image that's just so incredible in rectangular format, and you don't want to cut off those sides. It's okay to post that. Just be aware that it's only going to show that center square in your main feed when people come to look at you, and it will be a little bit on the jarring side when people are scrolling through your newsfeed because they want and expect those square images. So if you get that rectangular one, people tend to associate that more with an ad than with an actual post, and they may just keep scrolling past it. So it's not going to affect your reach or your impressions. It may affect some of your engagement rate. I do recommend keeping it square if at all possible, but it's okay to sneak in a rectangular one every once in a while. Just be aware it's not going to put all of the imagery on your grid when you are posting these things. And if you have something that's really cool as a rectangular image, but you want to go square for your main feed, maybe put the rectangular image in your Instagram stories and give it a little different perspective so that people are not getting the exact same content and they can kind of see an expanded version of what you've created inside of your main feed. Great question, Danielle. We had a good comment come in, a great comment come in this week on our brand new video where we're talking all about lead pages and how you can be using lead pages as a source of creating your opt-in pages, your sign-up pages, your checkout carts, your sale pages, like all those fun, fabulous things. You can even, technically use it to create a website if you wanted, webinar sign-in pages and all sorts of amazing things. And we got a great comment that says, thanks for the tips. I never considered using lead pages. You make it look so easy. That is because it is such an easy program to use. It is drag and drop. It's got all the widgets, all the features that you need. It connects directly to your email service providers. So you can link it up to your webinar programs, to your emails to send out newsletters, to send out recommendations or reminders for your upcoming events. All those fun, fabulous things. It is so easy to use. Drag and drop. They've got templates, which you can then customize and change the widgets around to make it not feel like a template. And it is such a great source of influence within your business. I highly recommend it. And if you guys actually want your own lead pages, if you want to try it out for an extended version of the trial, you can actually go over to kmrobinson.com/tools, because I have an affiliate link there that gets you extra bonus things that you can be testing out before you jump into the world of lead pages. I use it for all of my opt-in pages, sales pages, checkout cards, all those fun, fabulous things. And I highly recommend it to you guys as well. Yes2Tech joined us and said, I love lead pages. I use it for all of my opt-in pages, webinar pages, and sales pages. Yes, yes, yes. Me too. I could not live without it. I've had this since the very beginning of several of my businesses. I've had it for years and years and years, and I cannot say enough good things. Highly recommend it. And they're only getting better and better and better as they go and offering us more features. Highly recommend it. Vendi joined us and said, I just created my very first lead magnet page today. Thank you for the walkthrough. Vendi, I am so proud of you. I am so excited that you are jumping into this and you are creating your very first lead magnet. I've been paying attention to your channel. I know you talk all about LinkedIn, which I love. And I'm so excited that you actually jumped in and worked on this today. I'm super glad that I could help with this tutorial, and I can't wait to see what you're going to do with your lead magnet. Make sure you send that in. I'm excited to take a look at it. Shay joined us and said, what if you edit your on your iPhone and you don't have a Mac? She was on one of our videos this week all about how to create vertical video for IGTV on iMovie. So Shay, here's the deal with this one. All the same principles apply. Where you're placing things, what you're doing, how you're rotating things, what you're moving. All those same things that we talked about in this video still apply. The only thing that's different is the program that you're using. So with this, all you have to do is to pick an app on your phone. Now you can rotate video on your phone. So if you're just doing straight footage, you're good to go. Rotate it if you need to and crop it and do whatever and you're fine. You can get an app on your phone. A lot of people recommend Video Shop, and that's actually something I'm going to be looking into in the next couple of days. I typically edit on my laptop, but I am starting to look into how to do this on the phone because so many people ask me what apps to use. So I'm going to be looking into that one. I'll report back on that, but it's basically just going to be the same principles that we talk about in this video applied to a new program. And all you got to do is learn how that program works. So you can search YouTube videos, you can Google it, or you can stay tuned because if I like this new app, I'm probably going to do a tutorial on it. So I'll have you covered on that one, Shay. But let me know how it goes. Let me know what apps you are looking at and what ones you recommend if you guys are someone who does edit over on your phone. Let me know. Let me know what apps you are using, what apps I should be looking into. If you are enjoying this, we've got a couple more questions to answer, but I need you to hit that subscribe and notification bell so you don't miss out. We're talking about some really cool things this week, and this is not something you want to miss out on because we're building your profitable businesses through smart social media marketing. If you're joining me live on air, I do need to hear from you, whether you are on our YouTube page or Facebook. We are simulcasting for the first time on this platform. We just got access to this brand new feature, and I'm going to be doing a behind the scenes on it when they open it up. So BeLive has now given me beta access to simulcasting. As soon as they open it up to everyone, they're working on adding a couple of new features for me in the beta version to try. I will be doing a tutorial to show you exactly how to do this and how you can benefit from it inside of your business. But if you're joining me on Facebook or YouTube, now's the time to jump in the comments. Let me know what industry you're in so I can cater my responses to you. And if you've got social media marketing questions, or business questions, I would love to get those answered. Go ahead. We've got a couple more minutes. We're going to be hanging out and answering questions for you guys. So now is the time to go ahead and get those dropped in there so we can get them answered for you. Rachel joined us this week and said, oh, I really didn't know this. Thank you so much. You are rocking it. Rachel was on our video last week, all about how you can be using Facebook and Instagram messenger rooms as upsells within your business. So we now know that Facebook, who owns Instagram and uses the same infrastructure, has created messenger rooms with up to 50 people on screen, all those fun, fabulous things that you can do. You can even treat it like a webinar, but you can also use it as an upsell in your business. We broke down everything that you need to know. Rachel, I hope you take advantage of this. It's something I'm going to start doing inside of my businesses as well, and I want to hear how it's working for you. So go ahead and let me know. Thanks so much for joining me this week. I appreciate you being here. Tiding Leaving with Sabrina also jumped in on the same video and said that's awesome that it lets you add up to 50 people. It's basically like a mini webinar platform without having to use an external app. So people are more likely to join because they don't have to go to an outside source. Yes, that is exactly what you can be doing with this. And I absolutely love that people are starting to use this as a webinar, as a mini training, as their coaching and consulting platform. There's so much that you can do. Check out that video. It is a good one. And there's a lot of really cool ideas for that one as well. Danielle's joining us from YouTube. Hey, girl, thanks for joining. Appreciate you being here. We did have more fabulous questions come in this week. Danielle is like my source of questions, and I love it. Danielle wants to know, how worried should we be about typos? You can edit them everywhere, but Twitter and Instagram stories, should a post with a typo be removed or no? All right, so here's the deal. If you make a typo somewhere and it's really bad, maybe. Did you get a lot of engagement? If you already got engagement and people already know what you're talking about, it's fine. Move on with life. It's the internet. We all understand. We all text people and make mistakes. We all post things and make mistakes. I'm a best-selling young adult author, and I make typo mistakes. Even when I read things, I self-edit things, when I have editors, I make mistakes. People understand that. So if it's something absolutely horrible, like if it's a horrifying thing, yes, I would probably change it. And this occasionally happens to me. Sometimes I'll go to type a word and one letter will get switched because it's right next to each other, and it will turn it into an inappropriate word, which I don't say. And so when that happens, 100% that'll go. I don't care how much engagement. If I type that, I can't fix it, that'll go. But for the most part, I would just leave it. It doesn't really matter. People understand it's going to happen. If it's inside of something like an ad, yeah, okay. At that point, you really should be like spell checking yourself and fixing that. But for the most part, it's not going to matter. If it's Twitter, if it's stories, whatever. I do want to point out, though, that while you can be changing things in Instagram's main feed or on Facebook and these different platforms, if you do go in and edit it, it will cut down your reach, because at this point you've posted something on a platform. Let's just use Instagram for example. You've posted a really cool photo on Instagram and you have already sent it out. You put your hashtags in, it's good, people have seen it. All of a sudden, maybe 10 minutes later, maybe an hour later, you notice that you have a typo. If you go in and you edit it, that tells the algorithm, oh, the content has changed. The thing that people have already said they liked has changed. The engagement that you've already received on that image is connected to what it already was. So even if you're just changing a typo, that says, oh, we have just changed this. It might be different than what people have already said they like. This could be an entirely different concept. It can change the meaning. It can change how people are reacting. We're going to pull back because at this point, we don't know if people are going to respond the same to this comment, to this caption. And so it truncates your reach. And at that point, because of the algorithms, it's not something that's going to keep coming up in people's feeds. It is something that is a little bit more time sensitive. So even if you catch it right away, it's going to truncate what you can do in terms of reach. So I recommend leaving it alone. If it is something that you notice a typo on and it's not seriously awful, I would wait like 1 or 2 days and I'll go in and I'll change it so that people who are coming to my main feed later on don't see a weird typo. But I don't mess with it when it's still in the algorithm system and still being kicked out to people. People are not seeing things 1 day, 2 days, 3 days after you post. So then it's safe. That's fine. It's not going to hurt you. But within that window of time where they're actually kicking it out to people, I would not touch it even if I notice a typo, even if I have the capability of changing it, because it can mess with your reach and the engagement that you were getting on this. And I don't want to do that to me or to you. So I recommend you leave it be until a little bit later on. All right, continuing. If the button wants to work, Sierra joined me and said, this was great advice about Instagram Live. Thanks for sharing. We're talking about all about Instagram hacks that maybe you didn't know to level up what you're doing inside of your Instagram Live streams to make sure you are kind of leveling up what you're doing and creating your profitable business through smart social media marketing, especially with Instagram Lives, because we know we are getting so much reach with those live streams and with our IGTV videos. So Sierra, I'm super glad that you joined us. Thanks so much for hanging out. I'm glad that you found value in that video. ChemoCraft jumped in. We're talking all about how to do split screen on Facebook like I'm doing right now through BeLive. And she said, wow, I had no idea that you can do this. Or he had no idea that you could do this. Yes, you can. It's pretty interesting. You can actually have up to 4 people on screen right now, and I know they're working on expanding that as well. So make sure you check out that video on how to be doing that through BeLive, the best platform for live streaming on YouTube, on Facebook, and on some other places as well. And I know they're working on some other things too, so make sure you stay tuned. Right now, we're getting the ability to simulcast just like I'm doing right this very second. So they're just leveling up and leveling up and leveling up. And if you want to try BeLive, you can actually go over to kmrobinson.com/tools, because over there I am giving you a free trial and some bonus things and some fabulous things with my affiliate link. So make sure you check that out if you are going to be trying this out. Danielle sent in one more question for today. And she says, how long should you wait between posts on Facebook and Instagram? So we talk a lot about varying your content and making sure you're not posting at the exact same time on multiple platforms, because it's just going to not help your reach at all. It will extend your reach and expand your reach if you are posting the same or similar content to different platforms at different times. So I usually say when you post on Instagram, you need to wait a while before you post it on Facebook, and then maybe swap out your photo or maybe switch up your caption a little bit. I don't necessarily recommend posting the exact same things on both platforms, because you want to speak to your audience where they are at within those different platforms, and you want to make sure that people who are crossing over from both of those platforms get a little bit of a unique spin on it. Because if it's the same thing, why are they going to bother following you on Facebook if they can see it on Instagram, right? So how long should you be waiting between posts? I typically recommend about 1 day to 1 week. I don't necessarily go over 1 week, because you want to keep it relevant to what you're discussing on the rest of your platforms during the course of that week. But I also want to make sure that you've got that space between them. So some people will do like Instagram in the morning and Facebook at night. You could do that. I typically recommend doing like a day or 2 or 3 in between, just so people have a chance to see different content in different places. So typically, ideally, I would probably recommend like 2 to 3 days in between and kind of put a little bit of a unique spin on it so that you get the maximum reach there, because the algorithms are going to be functioning differently, but different people will be online at different times, all those fun, fabulous things, and they're more likely to catch it on one of the platforms if you do it in a various amount of time, so that they have the ability to see it in one place or the other, or maybe even both with a nice little spin on it. So I recommend 1 to 7 days, more or less. I wouldn't go over a week. I wouldn't go necessarily under a day, but if it's like time sensitive, I would wait a couple hours between it. So let's just say you were talking about something that's upcoming, a webinar, a podcast, you are doing an event, you've got a sale, something's going on. I would vary that by a couple of hours if it's time sensitive. If it's not, if it's just a post where you're working on getting engagement, I would do 1 to 3-ish days, up to 7 days, depending on what content you're putting out there and how you are posting content on the various platforms. And do it, of course, at different times so that people can find it on different platforms at different times. All right, friends, thank you so much for joining me. I do appreciate you being here. If you need help with your social media, you need to hit up #kmrobinson.com. It's my free hashtag guide where I'm breaking down everything you need to know about the #1 offending hashtag you're almost definitely using that's killing your reach and what to use instead. We are also over on livestreamactionplan.com, where I'm giving away free action plans to do one really big and important live stream inside of your business every single month to grow your platforms and to make the most out of what you're doing with your business to create profit within your business. And of course, you want to hang out over at kmrobinson.com/tools for all of those bonuses and specials and the freebies and the extended trials of those different programs we talked about today, because that is going to really help you out when you're growing your business. If you've got more social media questions, get them down in my comments below. Hit the subscribe and notification bell, because we are coming back on Friday with a brand new video. And OMG, is this one going to be good? Whew, I am so excited for the series we're working on right now. It's all about Instagram, and you do not want to miss out on this one. We're going viral for quite a few of our Instagram videos right now, and this is just build on it. It's going to be so good. You guys do not want to miss out, so hit the subscribe and notification bell. Hit the share button if you have not. Let your friends know that they should come hang out, and I'll see you next Wednesday for more of our live stream Ask Me Anythings, where for 20 minutes we are answering your questions in real time. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you guys again next time, and stay tuned for more videos. Until then, have a great day and stay inspired. Bye, friends.